did talk over
It's
you.
not how I roll, man.
Welcome to the Jeremiah Creek podcast. If you like this, please like and subscribe. And we need somebody to start liking and subscribing. Or
Where are we at right now? Add 200.
if you don't like and subscribe, we're gonna stop doing this right now.
Don't threaten stuff that we can't do. Our whole livelihood depends on this. Is how I make my living, you know. And I mean, because it still makes more than being a writer. For the love of Christ.
All right, so this is the first time we've been together in like a month.
Man, I'm sorry about that. I have been incredibly slammed. I had no idea that going back to school was going to take up this much of my time.
Yeah.
I'm spending
Well, you know,
8 hours a day on this thing.
if it's at all difficult, you could quit. Just, you know, it's not like you're under 16 and you're forced to go to school. You could just
Thanks, Dave.
give up.
Give me some more inspiration, would you please? Can you inspire me more to
You know, it's
motivate me?
It's my what do you call it? You know, where you have your theory of living. Your what is that called?
Are you my life coach?
Well, my theory is if you don't succeed, fuck it, just give up.
Yeah, good. Do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my yard looks like. It does, really. No, it's it. You know, they say 12 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
But
Wait,
now I realize
gardening or at the school.
the school.
Okay.
The class is 12 hours a week, but now I realize that that's literally how many hours the class is. Right? There's 3 4-hour units, and the work that they ask me to do adds significantly to that. And I didn't realize that it doubles it. I thought the 12 hours included the work that I have to do, but it doesn't.
That's still only 24 hours a week. It's not.
Yeah, but I have a job, and I'm also working on the other thing, and I also am sleep a lot. So it's,
well, you can cut into sleep.
I don't think I can. I don't want to give up the one thing that matters most to me, you know. And no, actually, it is cutting into my sleep. It's ridiculous. I'm up all night. Not being able to sleep. So now,
do you wake up in the middle of the night worried about school?
No, I'm not worried about school. I'm doing good. It just takes a lot, you know. And I wake up in the night because I've got insomnia. I don't really think about anything. I just stare, and you know, I think about really dumb things. And then I go on the internet, and it gets worse.
I almost never have insomnia. I did the other night, and it was a little strange. I woke up at like 3 a.m. I don't know why, no reason. And I was like, all right, I'm trying to get back to sleep. And then I'm like, you know, I really don't have any reason to get up in the morning. So I got up and I started reading for a while.
Yeah.
And just being like, fuck it, I could stay up for an hour or two and just sleep an hour or two later. I had nothing to do that day.
The not having to get up at a particular time, I'm beginning to learn if you don't handle that shit, it will run out.
Yeah,
you'll end up waking up at 2 p.m, you know. And
well, I never have that problem, but I do have a problem where I have to. I generally will wake up between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, but I realize that I have to have a morning routine just as much as I have to have an evening routine.
I should get an evening routine. My morning routine is solid, but I'm right now because it's getting dark at 4:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times when I've had maybe 4 hours of sunlight.
Okay, let's bring this back to our top. Let's make that our first topic. Why are we doing that anymore in this day and age?
What do you mean?
Why are we moving the clocks back?
Yeah, it's stupid as shit.
Really, you know what? I spent so long working on nights that I guess I never really paid attention to it for years. But this year, that weekend that we moved the clocks back threw me off more than I ever remember it doing before. And I don't work anymore. I mean, part-time stuff, but I don't have like a regular job. Now, granted, my half my 28 years was spent on nights, so it never really was a thing I dealt with.
Nights has a peculiar privilege because you don't have to get up at 6 a.m. You know? Like my wife is up every day at 5:30 or 6, and then she has to drive for an hour out to Naperville, you know. And
Yeah, but why?
I would die if I had that.
Moving the clock back though means that it gets. The only thing it means is that you get more light in the morning when it doesn't seem to matter, and less light in the evening when it really ticks the shit off. Ticks me off.
Well, I mean, it mattered when they did it.
Yeah. I
'Cause
understand why we did it.
We're an agricultural society, then it made a lot of sense.
But every year, this year actually was a little different because in years past, there's been a big push around this time of year to stop moving the clocks back. This year,
they need to have that push when it's not the time to move the clocks back.
Yeah.
They need to do it earlier in the year.
Well, but you have to pass it this time of year so that, okay, we're going to move the clocks forward in March, and then that'll be it.
We should all just refuse.
Well, you know what? Most states have passed laws that says if the federal government passes a law, they will immediately get rid of it. But something about the federal government has to do it. I don't really understand it. A few years ago, I think I looked at it because it was an interesting thing going on. We might have talked about it on a podcast or something.
I can't remember these podcasts.
But this year,
the moment I leave,
I didn't hear any news stories. I didn't see anything about people complaining.
it's almost like there was other stuff dominating the news. Really? Yeah. I think that one of the reasons they have to maintain it right now is because obviously business runs on a schedule, and so the schedule has to be the same for all businesses. And so if you take away the rolling the clocks back and daylight savings time and stuff, you're making business confusing for a lot of people.
I don't think it would be if everybody did it. I think it would be like if Chicago decided not to do it, and then
what
the
is
rest
the one
of
state that doesn't do it? Is it Oklahoma?
There's a couple. But those states never did it, and that's the only reason why they're allowed to get away with it. They refused in the beginning. I think
if only we had a device that fit in the palm of our hand that would allow us to look up any information on Earth, we could find that out.
We could.
Well,
we didn't plan on talking about that though, so we didn't put any research into it, other than unlike the things that we planned to talk about that we didn't do any research for.
Yeah, we didn't do any research for those because we don't care. But that one we weren't.
We had an excuse.
Yeah.
In this case, why we didn't do any research on that, but it just bugs me. It just seems like something that we do that's, and I understand there was a reason for it in farming.
Well, what
days.
are the other leftover, the other legacy things like that? You know, we almost didn't have the kind of timekeeping that we have now. We almost went with standard railroad time, which would have been really fucking weird.
Well, that's what it was originally. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I actually read a book on this years ago, and when everybody switched to time zones and everybody had to set their clocks, like, because it used to be based on railroad time, so everybody would be like 15 minutes, 20 minutes off, and whenever they passed that law, I can't remember the year, but people actually believed that time would slow down if they rolled their clocks back 15 minutes. They thought there was stories of that the government, whoever reporters had to explain to people that time wasn't actually going to slow down for those 15 minutes that you had to adjust.
Makes me want to write a short story about some farmer dude that during that 15 minutes walks slowly just in case. Like he's got to go somewhere, but just in case he walks really slowly because he doesn't know how time is going to work.
Or you took a lot of chances because you knew if you fell, you'd fall very slowly.
Oh my God! Yeah,
you wouldn't
jump off a building because you figured,
How many people had sex because they figured it would slow down the
time change babies? It's probably a thing.
It probably is. Just like we're getting pretty close to the era of the quarantines. I'm still trying to push that. Anybody born in 2020 and 2021, when they become teenagers, will be the quarantines.
Oh my God. Oh, that's going to be awful. I never even thought about those poor kids, man.
That's one of those things that I'm pushing that maybe will never take off, or maybe it will, but we won't know for 10 more years.
Trademark that now.
I should. But you know what? Some of my other things never took off. Like women who support Trump, I thought we should call them strumpets with the Trump.
I think that's a really good idea.
I wanted to make T-shirts, but nobody bought them. So. Apparently, we're not ready to use that ironically yet, that term.
Well, they're not ironic people, so I think that I wanted to have a T-shirt that says "This simulation sucks," And,
Yeah, I think there probably is a T-shirt like that.
not enough people got it. My best T-shirt is still the one that says basically what I do is misinterpret a dance. It's still my best T-shirt. People like it when they see it. You know?
One of my best ideas that I ever had was has been stolen by the Salerno Cracker Company. They have now made their crackers slightly concave to be easier to pick up soup. You know.
So they're cracker bowls.
They're sort of, yeah. They didn't do it as much as I would have, but
I mean,
they
Tostitos has scoops.
did.
You know, so they're tiny little bowls.
Yeah.
So I came here today, and on the way, I only live a mile away from here, and I got about halfway here and realized that I forgot my phone. So I'm here phoneless, which is weird. When was the last time you were phoneless anywhere?
Probably, yeah. When I forgot it, and then you start getting worried. Okay, where did I do? Did I drop it?
Oh, I know exactly where it is. I just I rarely. I mean, it's such a part of me. I don't even go upstairs without the damn thing.
When I'm down in Tennessee, like I try to spend at least an hour or so a day working on yard work that I want to get done. And you know, it's
Jesus Christ, really?
What's funny is I have a 10-year plan, so it requires an hour a day.
There you go.
For 10 years.
I don't know what it would be like if I were. I don't think I can. I don't have the kind of job you can retire from. I can't stop like thinking.
No, but you can slow down, or you can write for yourself, like you were doing for a while.
I am writing for myself.
Oh,
yeah.
Actually,
another reason I have no time.
See, I just that's another thing I want to do about a routine is I want to spend one day writing because I have so many ideas, and then I sit down and I end up watching TV and I don't do anything with them. So
yeah, you can't have a TV in the room where you write. It'd be good if you didn't have the internet, but I don't think anybody can get that far.
Oh, but getting back to the phone, so
yeah,
so sometimes I have found myself walk out and get my stuff. I go out and when you have more land than what we have here in Chicago. It's like
Dave's a farmer now.
You get to where you're at, and you want to turn on your music, and then you realize you forgot your phone, and it's actually like a little internal discussion. Do I walk all the way back to the house?
Well, also you live on the side of a cliff,
yeah.
So I mean, you'd be climbing vertical back up to your house. Dave parachutes down to the bottom of his driveway, and then he has a funicular that brings him back up.
Yeah, it's actually
you should get one of those stairmaster things like they have for old people, but for your driveway.
Yeah.
Get in it, go down to check your mail, come back up. I love that
it's
idea.
snow. We had snow here in Chicago yesterday, so of course we got a little bit of snow in Tennessee today. So I'm looking at my cameras, wondering, okay, is driving down my driveway going to pose problems in the snow?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a snow blower.
I mean, I know that in Oregon we rented this Airbnb, and it had a really steep driveway. But then at the bottom where the driveway actually went into the garage, it was even steeper. Like it was a steep driveway, and then where it went in, it got really weird, right? And I talked to the guy. I'm like, doesn't it snow here? He goes, yeah. And I go, what? He goes, yeah. There's been times I couldn't get out.
Yeah.
He goes, I was just stuck down here. And I'm like, man, I would never, because I grew up in Florida. And a lot of people here that growing up in Illinois, you just never think about shit like that because there's no hills.
Yeah.
Then you get to a place like Tennessee, you're like, how the fuck are all their legs the same length, right? Because they're all walking on hills all the time.
All right. So do we have any topics? Do you have a topic?
I have a topic.
I do have a topic.
You go first.
Well, the Jussie Smollett Supreme Court decision came out yesterday. As we record this on,
it's historic.
Oh,
really.
It's the anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination today. So, but Jussie Smollett, and I was the Illinois Supreme. For those, let's do a quick recap. Jussie Smollett called the police and said that he was attacked by MAGA supporters in downtown Chicago when it was 26 below zero, and there was a huge investigation, and even Kamala Harris and many other people talked about how it was a modern-day lynching, and it turned out to be a hoax. And so he was arrested, and then our vaunted state's attorney decided to dismiss the charges. And then there was such a backlash that there was a special prosecutor who recharged him, convicted him, and now it has gone up through the courts to the Illinois State Supreme Court, which threw it out because they said that the fact that the state's attorney made a deal with him means that it was double jeopardy. And I have to say, now I watched this. I don't know. I think I told you this, but this whole thing was a little personal to me. First of all, because I knew all the people investigating it.
Yeah.
Secondly, because my son happened to work in that area, and would normally have taken the train to work, and would normally have walked right past the area where it occurred.
Yeah.
On camera. So I always would say, if there was a normal amount of people walking around, there would have been a lot more people on the cameras that Jussie Smollett could have pointed at and going, "That's the guy that attacked me."
And also, there would have been people filming it because people would have whipped out their cameras instead of helping.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but there would have been. Well, my thinking is that if nobody filmed it, nobody filmed it. So what they did was they went through all the street cameras that we have downtown.
Yeah.
And got all the people that were walking around, and then took it back to him and said, "Were these the guys that attacked you?" And so there would have been a lot more people walking around, including my son. As it happens, because it was so cold, and I didn't want him taking the train,
Yeah.
and I was working at night, I drove him downtown to work. So
What a good dad.
yeah. So I paid attention to this whole thing. Now, clearly he was guilty. I mean, I don't think anybody at this point thinks that he was innocent of anything.
And let's be clear about what he was guilty of. He was guilty of fraud.
right.
Yeah. Because it was bullshit.
Yeah. He was guilty of a hate crime hoax.
He was guilty of a hate crime against himself. Really.
Yeah. But because of who he was, being a celebrity, and
Barely
a
a celebrity.
he was a celebrity after this, and
Which may have been the whole point.
the Chicago Police Department spent a lot of time and effort and money going through doing a full-on investigation. I mean, it takes a lot of time to look at all the cameras downtown from there. So some of the detectives.
We're looking at probably like what, $350,000?
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost exactly.
I think that personally, if citizens engage in fraud, this kind of fraud that engages the time of police officers and maybe other emergency workers, and they weren't crazy, right? It's not because they're mental or something.
Yeah.
That they should have to reimburse.
Well,
I don't think it's fair.
That was part of the. That was part of his sentence, was a reimbursement of 100. I think it was 120, which is about half. Yeah, I mean, because they called an ambulance. I mean, they did everything.
I know how much that cost.
Everything by the book, and
Yeah,
but
because
anyway,
they thought it was an actual crime.
yeah. Well,
No
or
one's-
they treat. Actually, most of the people that I talked to about it knew within 5 minutes that it was bullshit. But you can't.
How did they know within 5 minutes?
You have to do, because the story was ridiculous.
Okay.
But you have to do the full investigation. You have to do everything, especially when there's that much media attention on it. You can't just sit there and go, "This is crazy." There's no way. Nobody was out. First of all, this is Chicago, all right?
Nobody's out walking around.
Donald Trump lost Chicago by like 90% in the last, not this past election, but the last election before that. And it was 26 degrees below zero.
How are those two things related?
Because he said that they attacked him and said, "This is MAGA country," and they were wearing Donald Trump hats.
Okay.
And so first of all,
Why would they be wearing Trump hats? If it was that cold, they'd be wearing a beanie. It's only 40 degrees and I'm wearing this thing.
yeah, and it's like nobody in Chicago would. I mean, I wouldn't put a sign up for Trump in front of my house. My neighbors would burn the friggin' house down. People aren't going to be walking around downtown Chicago in the middle of the night wearing MAGA hats. You're just asking to get beat up.
Yeah.
And
Well, no, Democrats wouldn't beat anybody up, man.
yeah, right.
We would just
And-
yell at them and go, "You're a bad person,"
Yeah.
and then run away because we're snowflakes, dude.
Yeah, right. But anyway, and it was 26 degrees below zero, so nobody's wearing a ball cap at all.
That's the more telling part of it is. How would he know that they were MAGA people?
And why would a celebrity, even a minor celebrity, walk out at 2 a.m. to Subway when you could just call Uber Eats?
DoorDash, yeah.
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, who goes anywhere anymore? I mean, seriously, I don't think I leave my house I come here if you're in town, and I go to lodge.
Okay, but let's get back to this. So this worked this way up. The Supreme Court threw it out, and I have to say this. I think the Supreme Court was right.
Well, they were right, because I mean, it's if a deal was cut, they have to honor that. That's part of the law.
Yeah, even if it's a
It's fucking
corrupt
stupid.
deal, which it was a clearly a corrupt deal that Kim Fox did.
Mhm.
It was still a deal. I thought when they brought the special prosecutor in, I expected the special prosecutor not to go necessarily after Justice Smollett, but to go after the lawyers who made the deal, because the deal was clearly corrupt, but it was elected state's attorney gave a sweetheart deal to a politically connected guy, and you can't just sit there and go, well, they shouldn't have made the deal, so we're going to re-indict the guy. I mean, you look at it, if it was me, I mean, I complain all the time that I think that they violate the double jeopardy laws, especially when it comes to police officers. People get charged for the same crime several times over, and I'm always arguing against that. You kind of got to argue against this. It was a corrupt deal, but it was a deal, and so I don't think I think they did it the correct thing. I think if he had not gotten 100, his sentence was 150 days in jail, 30 months probation, and a $120,000 fine to pay for the investigation. I think if he had not gotten that 150 days in jail, I almost think they might have let it go and just said, but still.
What do you mean, let it go?
I don't know. I think that
I mean, the state Supreme Court.
the state Supreme Court, I think, might
It sounds like they did let it go.
No, I think they would have not overturned it, if there wasn't part of
That
it.
would have also been correct. They would have been within their rights to say you have to serve your time.
Yeah, but
Do you think also there was a little bit of the state Supreme Court going like, ugh, this guy again? You know, I mean, okay, probably not, but at the same time, in whatever legal version of that there is, where they're like, this guy's getting more time on the air, and he's using us for that. I mean,
well, maybe that would account for the way they just released it, like a statement yesterday, and in the first thing in the morning, on a Wednesday, I don't know, maybe. But it's
he doesn't deserve any more time in the media, man.
No.
There's enough real stuff going on. We don't need anybody faking it.
And you know what?
For likes, faking it for likes.
And I'm kind of happy with the outcome, just for the fact that it was proven that he lied. His career is, I don't know if it's destroyed. He probably can make a comeback. He's young.
Nah.
And
he better go into real estate.
yeah, well, the problem is that he's never admitted. I think if he came back and he said, "Listen, I apologize for all this," and and then they would probably welcome him back with open arms in Hollywood. But I don't think he'll ever do that. Which means that his career has suffered, his brand has suffered.
He's going to be on Dancing with the
think
Stars, and that'll be the highest level he gets.
Yeah, I don't think anybody actually would have been given jail time. I think part of the reason he was given jail time was because he made so many people defend him when
He was an asshole.
Yeah, he was an asshole. I think he got the time, but I think like a person who wasn't a celebrity and who didn't have all these people coming out of the woodwork to talk about how terrible this thing was. I think necessarily he probably wouldn't have gotten. He would have only got probation. Mm-hmm. So I think the sentence was more harsh than would have been normal. And but I do think that deal was corrupt. I think some of the prosecutors should have paid the price for that. But
well, hopefully we'll never hear from him again. So
yeah, unless Dave Chappelle does another skit about him,
that would be hilarious.
The one he did was really hilarious.
I didn't see the one he did.
You really?
Yep.
Oh, we should play it. He was really funny. All right. So what topics do you have?
They're all dumb.
Well, that's right.
Dumb topics. But also, I'm kind of thinking about what our audience is looking at and what's happening in their life, and whatever's happening in your life is very similar to what's happening in our lives.
That's what we
Right.
hope for. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I am now, for the most part, walking with a cane. I know I forgot it. And that's not good. Let me tell you. Wait till you see me get up out of this chair. But my back is fucked up.
You know, you've lost a lot of weight. How is it your back is worse?
It has nothing to do with weight. It's
Huh.
not a weight related thing.
Can they fix it?
If I did like all the therapy and everything I'm supposed to do regularly, and if I exercised more, maybe it could mitigate it. But I mean, when my doctor told me that, he goes, "But you're not gonna, are you?" I was like, "Okay," and he goes, "That really doesn't matter, does it?" But even with the exercise, the little exercise that I'm doing right now, it just occasionally like the other day I was cooking, you know, because I'm still the cook, and I bent over to get a pot out from under the cabinet, and you know you have to bend a weird way, right? Like you're kind of squatting and bending over to get something, and I had to call my wife. I had to grab the doors and call her, and I couldn't move because if I moved a millimeter either way, it would be shooting pain, right? And so she brought me a cane. And it's the same cane that her aunt used when she was.
The one with the 4 little things on the bottom?
No, it's not that. Although I kind of want one of those now that I'm a cane guy. But so now I'm a cane guy. Like at home, like when I walk around at home, I have a cane. When I go to my truck, I usually have a cane, but I keep forgetting it though. I'm not used to it yet. But it's not there because I need it to walk. It's there in case, just in case, right? Because if I'm by myself and my back goes out, I'm pretty screwed.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have anyone
Do you
there.
have one of those buttons you could press? I've fallen,
Oh,
help, I've
man.
fallen, I can't get up.
Oh my God, do I need one?
Sure.
I mean,
It just notifies your wife.
okay, this topic, this topic is gonna fork into 2 bigger topics, and the first one is most likely the way that I will die is something will happen. Like let's say my hip goes out or whatever, and I fall down. All right. Or I fall down and I hit my head or something like that. And my wife will be in the kitchen, all right? And my son will be in the basement. And I will frantically try to reach them. But she's got on headphones because she's listening to Democrat QAnon. And my son's playing League of Legends and can't hear anything. And they will not know that it's happening. And my dog doesn't care anymore. And so I will just lay there and suffer and expire on my living room floor because no one can hear me.
Well, I would give you a little bit of advice. Don't fill the bathtub and then go to the bathroom.
What?
Well, because when I had a case where, you know, the guy filled the bathtub and then sits down on the toilet and then either had a heart attack or fell into the bathtub.
Oh, wow. Well, I don't take baths. So.
And that's that's not. Yeah.
I air bathe like Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, like Brad Pitt.
Yeah. What? Does he really?
Something I think.
No, I think he's an asshole.
I learned that from watching Between Two Ferns.
Yeah. One of the greatest shows in the entire world. No, you know, I've been having trouble like adjusting and understanding how old I actually am. Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel, and I know everyone says this, whatever, but it's the truth. I absolutely cannot. I can't wrap my head around the fact that I'm over 60 and that I have I could have serious problems at the drop of a hat for no apparent reason. I could have weird stuff can happen. You know, your joints start to deteriorate, and you know you get weird Charlie horses and stuff, and just you forget shit, and if I fall down, for instance, it is much harder. I don't spring back up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to lay there for a while, and I'm going to think, if I have to get down on the ground to, like, if I do push-ups, for instance, I have to think through the act of getting up again, you know? And it used to be because I was fat, but now it's because everything is fucking falling apart. All the hinges are rusty, and I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that shit, you know?
I remember I used to, as a joke, like if somebody would say, "Oh, I have a headache," I'd be like, "Oh, maybe it's a tumor." No,
I mean,
it's not funny anymore.
yeah, it's not funny anymore. You know, like I was telling somebody the other day, I'm old enough now that if I died, no one would be really surprised.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if it was a car crash or something, they would. But if I just keeled over dead, they would go, "Well, he had a good life."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, nobody would be like, "Oh my God, he's too young." To be like, "No, he's not too young.
Yeah.
He's exactly old enough for that."
People have heart attacks at that age, I don't. I don't know. I wonder about that too. But I feel like one of the things that's nice about where I'm living now, where I'm moving to, and the fact that I'm doing all this stuff like yard work and walking up and down the driveway and stuff like that. I have to say, going down there, I was down there for a month, and now we're back up, getting all the other stuff out of the house, celebrating Thanksgiving. And at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month, I felt much better at the end of the month. I do get a lot more exercise down there. I don't think I've lost weight. So I don't weigh myself, but
Yeah.
I have done a lot more physically than I did when I was here. And really, the only physical thing was to walk the dog and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I literally have. I have nothing. I was going to the gym, but I'm on hiatus until after January 19th because I'm so busy. And
on January 20th, then you're the same day the new president gets inaugurated is when you're inaugurating your new gym.
I assume
program.
I'll be running a lot that day. So no, it's just coincidental. I'm giving a speech in New York, or a lecture in New York on the 19th.
Really?
And, yeah.
New York City?
I think it's going to be in Manhattan. Yeah.
Oh, can I come?
No,
Why?
because it's Masonic.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a big conference, though. I mean, yeah, you can come. I don't know if they'll let you in. So, but it's cool. I like it when they do that. I'm getting my day rate. They're flying me up there, giving me a hotel, treating me real nice and everything. And it's because of writing. It's because of that article I wrote.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's pretty cool.
I joined the VFW.
Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you were a
interesting.
Cub Scout master.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I had to talk about a war.
Seen things.
My God, war with parents. But it's interesting. I was a member of the VFW when I first got out of the Marine Corps back in the 90s. And it was interesting. They at the time, I had just gotten out of the military and I wanted to hang out with military people. So I went to the VFW and I joined. And what they said was because I had gotten out of the Marine Corps, and then like literally a month or two later, the Gulf War started. So I was recalled back in.
Oh.
I was sent back to active duty, but I never actually went over to the war zone. We were literally packing up the plane to leave the next day when the war ended, and so they canceled our orders and stuff. But at the time, the VFW allowed you to join if you were recalled from civilian life because of a war, and so I joined, and then the place I would go closed, and we moved, and I never joined another one. So so I moved down to Tennessee, and I just started hanging out with some guys who were my age, who were military guys, and at the VFW, and so I said, yeah, I used to be a member, but then I quit, and so I gave up. Well, that no longer is a criteria for joining.
Oh.
You had to have actually been over in the war zone, and so I'm like, wow, all right, well, sorry for wasting your time, and the guy. The guy goes, well, I'll look at your DD-214, that's your discharge papers, and see, and maybe there's you got something you didn't realize. And so he calls me up and he goes, hey, I noticed for your DD-214 it says you have sea service. What were you doing? When did you go to sea? And I said, I was in Korea. So we went on a ship from
If I'm not mistaken, Korea is a foreign country.
Japan to Korea. Yeah, I never thought of it though as the fact that we never signed. The Korean War is still ongoing, technically.
Holy crap.
We never signed, there's no peace treaty with North Korea. And so anybody who was assigned to Korea is considered, and George Bush, there's actually a medal that I never got that George Bush, the first George Bush, put up saying that the Korean Defense Service Medal, anybody who went there and was stationed in Korea is deemed to have been part of a foreign war because it's still ongoing.
You need to get your medal, man.
I did. Yeah, I had to just fill out a paper and it's in there, and now I can join the VFW. I was like, boy, I had so much fun in Korea. Never thought of it as being a war.
Yeah. I mean, that's the criteria is not that you suffered.
I know it was a lot harder in Panama, and that doesn't even count as a war. So. Anyway, show over. So let's see. We got other. You got other. There's no such thing as a dumb topic. So you got another topic?
Well, I mean, I can push that. So, well, okay, I got a new porch.
Oh yeah, I stand corrected.
Yeah, and well, I learned something about myself, and that is that I'm not even qualified to handle the simple negotiations of working with a cement company, working with a dude that pours stairs. Like, I'm just not good at that kind of thing, man.
Wait, did you watch them? So you
little
have a
bit.
cement porch and cement stairs?
Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry. Not a cement porch. You have cement stairs?
no, cement porch. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this. It's not all cement, right?
Well, I mean, there's a foundation of dirt and rocks and stuff like that,
And then
they
build-
built a frame around that, and then there's rebar and all and fabric and all that stuff inside of it.
I always wondered about that when I see those.
It would cost $20,000 if it was a solid block of cement.
Cement, yeah.
So,
I always wonder about that. Whenever I see cement
or
porches.
I did pay for a solid block of cement, and just because I don't know how things work, they got away with it. One of those two things happened. So, but they did that, and they put up railings. But just to, the guy was like, I need this much money now, and part of me was like, that seems like a lot, like he wants way more than he should get right now. But what I actually said was, yeah, sure, okay, because I don't want to make the guy mad, right? And like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So my wife was working at home that day, and I went in, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, he wants so much, and she goes, "All right, hang on." That poor motherfucker, man. He has no idea that my wife is like that's what she does. She does billion-dollar contracts, all right? That poor mofo, man. He barely got paid. Barely got paid. And every time he'd come to every stage of the job, he'd come and he'd go, "Okay, I need to close out the job." My wife would go, "No." She'd go, "You still haven't done this, this, and this." And he goes, "Yeah, but I'll do that." And she goes, "Yeah, we'll pay you when you're
I'll
done."
tell you what, I learned my lesson years ago about that.
Mm.
We paid somebody and they got down to the last few things, and then something came up and they're working on another job, and those last few things never got done. We
Yep.
had to pay somebody else to do them.
Yep.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
you gotta if you're out there and you're looking, regardless of whether you get screwed like he would have done on the payment, you never pay him the last whatever it is, third or whatever,
Yeah.
until everything is done to your satisfaction.
And then if
Because-
he's a dick, you wait 29 days
Yeah.
after that to pay the guy. So he's not a dick. He's a nice guy. They did a good job, but he just he's one of those guys that everything was handwritten,
Yeah.
and like, his company website is awful, and everything. And I didn't really even shop around. I have no idea if I got a good deal or not, to be honest with you. Our steps fell apart the day before Halloween, and I'm like, great, children are gonna die.
Yeah,
on
you
our
didn't think
steps.
about just building a wooden porch? I mean, because you could have built a porch
Gross.
on
No,
the front of your house that you could have sat out on. And
it would.
watched.
We did. We have a huge porch.
Oh, okay.
It goes all the way to the edge of the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we're right now getting a new awning to put over it, so it's good. It looks great, and it's a much better railing and everything. So I'm glad of the work. But I learned that about myself. Like I should not negotiate a cup of coffee. Like I give up everything. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. I mean, I just don't press.
Yeah, my wife's like that too. But
Really good to be married to a lawyer.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
I'm not much better, I have to say. So I'll get a little something, but like a lot of times when we go to buy something off of Facebook Marketplace, it's like I'll be like, nah, I'll give you you want $35 for it? I'll give you $25 for it, and then I'll settle on 30. My wife's like, just give me the $35.
I did my first marketplace thing.
You sold something?
Yeah.
What'd you sell?
This office chair that I've had forever. Though I bought this office chair because I was really fat. I needed a comfortable chair because my back is fucked up. And I shopped and I shopped and I shopped and I shopped. I finally got this chair on Amazon, and I got it at first. It was a big leather chair, right? Big and tall. Okay, guaranteed to hold 400 pounds. And I'm like, cool, So I'm sitting in it, and I notice over several weeks my back is getting worse. And I realize it's because the chair is made for a tall person. I'm not a tall person. I got short legs. And so I couldn't sit all the way back in the chair. And so I'm like, holy shit. So I got rid of it. I got a better chair. And it's sitting there. And I keep thinking I need to sell it. And we were talking to my wife's friend. He flips storage units, right?
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
by the way,
I used to love that show, Storage Wars.
yeah, apparently it's lucrative, but way too much work. And he said what he does is he puts it on Marketplace, puts a fair price up, and says, leave the money in the mailbox. And I'm like, don't you worry about getting ripped off? He goes, I've never been ripped off, ever. He goes, nobody is going to do that. And so I put it up there for a really good price. And the guy said, hey, I want it. And I'm like, just tell me when you're coming. I'll roll it on the porch, leave the money in the mailbox. This is hands-free. And he goes, cool. And I watched through my Ring doorbell, and the guy came up, and he put the money in the mailbox, and he walked away with the chair. It was so easy.
Wow.
It was so great. I'm like, I'm going to sell everything in my house now. Right? Yeah. And by the way, Ring doorbell is my new favorite TV show.
Oh, yeah, I like mine.
I'm watching my neighbors all the time now. Man, people walk by, and I follow them on my camera. I don't even have to get out of my chair. I just hold my phone and just follow them on the phone. I was in where did I go? Like, where did I go out of town? I went out of town. Where was I?
Oh, I was there. You know, speaking of Ring doorbells, though, I am researching what to do when you sell your house. How you turn the Ring doorbell over to the next owners. It's actually not that difficult, but it's something that I never thought about until I started thinking about selling my house.
I think about people that have smart homes, you know, and all their. I mean, I want that to work out, because if I had like the smart washing machine, which I wish I did, I don't want to have to be reminded every day when their laundry is done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But I have years ago I got like the Google the little speakers and shit like that, and I started getting into that, and I actually replaced one of my light switches with a smart light switch, which also has to be turned over, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's some of that stuff is like you could take it with you, but
that's
why would you?
You have to uninstall it and everything. So,
Elwood Edwards died recently.
Oh, that guy
at the age of 74, isn't it?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know who it is?
No.
You may not know his name, but you've heard his work. He's the guy who said, "You've got mail."
You've got mail. That's right. Yeah. And at his funeral,
I never knew that was a real person until I read that story in the paper.
It's like Siri's a real person, you know.
Somebody recorded it. Yeah.
I mean, she's still walking around. Can you imagine that poor lady? But yeah, that dude, man. How many times in his life do you think that he was at a bar or something and he goes, "You've got mail"? And somebody goes, "Oh my God, is that you?" Like, that's a level of fame that guy attends.
Yeah, and he got like $200 for that. It's not like he got royalties every time it was played.
Oh man!
Which is the first thing my wife asked when I told her the story. She's like, "Did he get paid like a singer every time the song is played?"
I mean, he should have.
He should have. If he would have got paid 1 cent for that every single time,
he'd be a bajillionaire for sure. Yeah. He'd probably be he'd have a cabinet position.
You know what? It reminded me of I like watching the History Channel, Modern Marvels, and there was a thing where they were talking about basically the history of ice cream. You know, and they go through how different ice cream is made and stuff like that. And there was a guy who worked for Dreyer's Ice Cream who was the official ice cream taster.
Oh my God!
His taste buds were insured for $1 million.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine being that guy? That would be such a great job.
I don't know. That's kind of like being the lighting guy in a porn thing. Like, it's like you eventually don't care anymore. You know?
Maybe.
Imagine that guy going to somebody's house and they're like, "We've got ice cream," and inside he's like, "Thanks," and inside he's like, "Jesus fucking Christ."
Another thing of ice cream, yeah. Although he didn't actually eat it all. He just tasted it and spit it out like wine people do.
Gross. I went to a wine tasting over a long weekend in California a couple of years ago, and a member of our party refused to spit out her wine. And I'm like, "You know how many vineyards we're going to? We're going to like 15 vineyards." And she's like, "Eh." Oh my God, she made it through 4. And she was just like zonkered, man.
Is this your loud friend?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the loud friend. I found out, though, her weakness, and that is champagne. Champagne makes her go to sleep.
So you always have a bottle ready.
I always got a bottle ready, man. Like, yeah, you sound like you need some champagne, dear.
I'm going to a bingo tonight. You want to go to bingo?
I have speaking of the loud friend, it's her birthday. So my wife's birthday yesterday. It's her birthday today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, my wife turned 40 finally, according to her.
According to her.
You know what? I got to tell you, she's aging backwards, man. My wife is hot as hell right now. She looks great, and you know, it just makes that dichotomy of like, how did this?
Yeah.
It makes it even worse. You know.
Did you your loud friend's birthday is today? Do you know what year?
What do you mean?
What year she was born?
Same as us.
What-
64.
Oh, not 63.
No. Why?
Well, today's the anniversary of JFK getting assassinated, and it would be, you could come up with some way of saying that, you know, that connecting the two dates.
I'm not bringing that up in that household. No way. No.
You can come up with something. Who can come up with a joke?
No. I'm gonna stand in the shadows and what the fuck is that?
I don't know.
That is weird.
Ashes.
So, you know, like I said earlier, I forgot my phone on the way over here, and it made me think of my immediate future and everything, and because there's been a couple times lately that I've gone somewhere without my phone, and like this week for some reason I've been thinking about this, and it is what were we like before we had this constant companion, before we had this phone? What was life actually like? I actually can't remember, and I had to think about it recently, and I'm like, you know what? I think it was better before we had smartphones.
You know what? I think there's good
Less
and there's
convenient.
bad. Yeah, less convenient, but there's good and bad. It was, but I mean, do you remember what it was like being a kid before you had cell phones? You know,
Oddly enough, that I can remember.
yeah, it'd be like go outside. You're out of the house. Nobody knows where you're at.
And I was never home.
Yeah.
Never home, because there was nothing to do. Well, okay, I was a reader, so when I came home, the first thing I did was flop in a chair with a book.
Yeah,
You
me
know?
too.
But there wasn't a shit ton of things to do. I didn't have video games. I didn't have.
Right,
I had three channels.
We straddle that age. We were born before cable TV, before VCR. I remember getting my first VCR.
Yeah.
Before video games. I remember playing in television,
Yeah.
baseball on in television. I remember Pong.
Pong blew my mind.
Yeah.
Pong blew. I saw Pong. The first place I saw it was in a pizza shop, right? And it wasn't Barnaby's Pizza like here in Chicago, but it was exactly like that. You know, this brick standalone place, and it was somehow meant to be an actual restaurant with just pizza. And they had a Pong table, and I went over and I was like, "What the hell?" And my dad and I played Pong, and I was like, "This is the future, man," you know. And then I got a Trash 80, like when I was in high school.
Yeah.
You know, the one that a Commodore. You know, you hook it up to your TV and everything, and I was like, I'm so technical.
Well, I remember, like being in school, that we would stop at the video game. There used to be a big video game parlor at Western and Grace.
Oh my
so
God,
it was on my
so
way
much
home
money.
on my way home from high school. We all the kids would meet there. Yeah, they said in 1980, I think it was 1980. They made over $1 billion a quarter at a time.
Yeah.
Man.
That was mostly me playing Asteroids.
I remember this little.
What was your
place-
game? Were you a Galaga guy?
I did like Galaga, but that wasn't my main thing. There used to be this game called
Star Castle.
Joust.
Joust.
Joust. I used to
From
play
the
Joust.
penny seats.
I used to love Joust.
I've never even seen that game.
Joust and Space Invaders.
What? I have
Yeah,
no idea what
on
he's
the
talking
bird.
about.
Yeah, play Joust. You ride a big giant bird, and it's basically like medieval
So it's
jousting,
based on reality.
but it's instead of a horse, you're on a bird and you're flying around.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because it was a regional thing, maybe, because I grew up in Florida, and that's a thing we didn't have. Or maybe I just never saw it. I don't know. I was Asteroids and Star Castle. That's all I did.
And the other one I really liked was the one where you're I can't remember the name of it, but you were in a spaceship and you had to you were lowering down and you had to adjust the flames so that you would land without crashing. And then
It's like a simulation game almost.
yeah, and it would get progressively harder where you had smaller landing areas or rocks or whatever you had to figure out. and you had to adjust, and you had to not run out of fuel. But you know,
Do you play video games now?
very very occasionally. Usually when I'm like I was over at Nate's house playing soccer yesterday, and but
So you exercised.
I remember that game, and the last time I sat and watched it, you watch Elon Musk's rockets come in. Did you see when they grabbed the rocket with those? It landed basically on the pad, and they grabbed it with the two chopsticks or whatever else.
Yeah.
It was like, holy crap! That was like playing that video game,
Yeah.
but like way higher level than I ever got to.
Yeah. Do you think a guy actually did that, or do you think it was automated?
Well, I think to a certain extent it's automated, but somebody had to plan it.
I go in phases of video games. So it used to be that I had, for a super creative person who's got like ADHD, you need a permanent distraction. All right. Well, I used to, and a static video game, something like it's not like a point and shoot type of thing, but like for me it was City Skylines, where you build a city, you know, so you're on your own time. It was always nice to have that, so because it drained off just enough attention that I could stay focused. I don't need that anymore, but I go through phases, and so now I'm back in a video game phase, and I'm playing a game called No Man's Sky, and it's the craziest. I really enjoy it, but every once in a while I sort of realize that what I'm doing is going around in space and shooting rocks.
Like asteroids.
Well, no, I'm walking. Well, yeah, no, it is like asteroids. You literally shoot asteroids. And it's just that it's extremely realistic, you know? And,
well, I do. One of my fondest memories when my son was a kid was when he got into Sims, and he would play Sims, and my wife and I would sit on the couch and just criticize his simulated life choices.
Can't win for losing.
I used to love that. But I don't like video games very much because I don't like losing, and I don't play
That's why
enough.
I play building games.
Yeah, I don't play enough to get good enough to where I want to lose. Inshallah, yeah.
The only time I played for a while, I played Skyrim, which is a walk and shoot game, and you know, there's dragons and stuff. And I play it. I always play from the. I don't see the character. I play as if I am the character, like I'm looking out. You know, am I saying that right?
Point of view.
Point of view, yeah. And I remember I set it up. I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to exercise and play this video game. And so I put it in front of my treadmill, and I put the treadmill on walking speed. And the very first time I did it, I'm walking, and I'm like, this is awesome. And then I stopped my character, and I stopped my own feet, and it shot my ass across the room. And it wasn't even going that fast, and it shot me across the room. And I was like, all right, well, that's enough of that shit.
All right, so we're getting to the end. So let's. Are we gonna? So we're gonna be trying to do this on Friday. Do you have another topic, real quick?
Well, I mean, I was still talking about the thing of not having a phone and everything. You know, since COVID, I've been kind of on permanent fade, right?
Yeah.
Where I just like I turn things down all the time. People are like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. I'm not busy. I mean, I am busy, but like I could, if I really wanted to, I could go and make things. I could go grocery shop. I could go to meetings and stuff, and I just don't. I don't do that anymore. And now I'm seriously thinking about like disassociating on social media and all that stuff, and going back to pre-internet, pre-iPhone living, where I have to like write letters to people and stuff. You know, I don't know. You should expect a letter.
All right, no problem.
It'll be official. You'll have to sign shit. You know, but I mean, you know, the reason is the other day I was trying to read this really great article, and I kept stopping because I wanted to go see. I wanted to check something else, but there wasn't anything I needed to check. It's just that my attention span has been whittled down to nothing. And so like long form journalism stuff is actually becoming a problem for me because I can't stay in it.
Yeah.
I want to pop out and like scan for a little bit and scroll. And I don't like that. I don't like my mind being like that, you know? I don't know if there's a chance for me to change, but I'm like, I don't want to do any of that shit anymore, you know? I want to go wireless. So I'm kind of glad I forgot my phone today. Because you know what? How many times do I have checked it?
Well, usually your wife would have called twice by now.
Yeah, that's true. Thank God she's in Minnesota. She can't call.
Why would anybody go to Minnesota?
That's where her company headquarters are at.
Oh.
So they had their holiday party last night. Guess who wasn't there?
You?
Yeah. No spouses. Yeah, and she just got back from Hawaii too. Went by herself.
Wow.
First class. Yeah. She went with a friend of hers, my second wife.
Oh.
And it was a chance thing. My second wife was there for our business conference and had a free room. And my wife was like, "Can I go?" She's like, "Hell yeah, there's 2 beds." And she looked at me, she goes, "Can I go?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I don't care. We're grown-ups. Go ahead. I don't have any desire to go to Hawaii. You know? Now, if it had been something cool, I'd been like, fuck no.
I've never been to Hawaii. Have you ever been there?
No, it's weird. It's one of the places that it's one of those destination places that just doesn't. I mean, if somebody said, "Hey, I'm paying for you to go to Hawaii," I'd be like, "Cool," but like it's not on my to-do list at all.
Yeah, no, me neither. I have a lot of things I want to see, but like Grand Canyon, Mount Rushmore, Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Muscle Shoals is cool.
That's where we hope to buy an RV and just go take our Starlink and drive around.
You have a Starlink?
Yeah.
Look, don't buy an RV. I'm telling you right now, rent an RV. Don't buy an RV. It's super expensive. No one's going to buy it for me when you're done with it, and it breaks down all the time.
Well, I'm not going to buy one of those. I'm going to buy a pull behind.
Oh, well, that's different.
All right, so thank you for joining us on Jeremiah Creek.
Next time on Zoom?
Next time will probably be on Zoom. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Well, unless you want to do it next week before Thanksgiving.
Actually, I won't be in town. So I'll be having Thanksgiving with Native Americans.
Ah. Well, we should have it like on Thanksgiving so we can see what you're doing.
I should have talked about that. So,
well, next time you can tell us how it is.
There you go.
So we'll probably not be doing it next week, but the week after. All right. Thank you. Although I'm starting to do small ones on. I'm trying to do a small one.
Shorts?
Shorts, yeah.
The algorithm is pushing shorts.
Oh, I guess.
Are we still on camera?
Not anymore. All right. Thank you.